Hello and welcome back to Let's Create Together. Today's episode is going to be a bit of a short one, just want to warn you, but we have a lot of cool things planned anyway. So as promised at the end of the last episode, we are going to make a minigame, but before we work on that, I want to show you the big hole that I started digging in the last episode. Yeah, it's that big now, and I thought I'd take a minute or two just to show you the machine that I came up with to dig out that big hole. So that's it, that's the thing. We have this little platform here. It's the 16 by 16 and it is covered in drills underneath it. And it is supported by two different gantries. So if we press this little button here, it messes up the shadows, we're just gonna ignore that. But it moves it 16 blocks. So that's the reason it's 16 is because, you know, it's the length of the platform. So it just moves it one space every time. And yeah, FreeCam's pretty useful when you want to line up where you want to go, so you can send it wherever you want. So that's a good spot. And now we can flick this lever, it's powering this gantry. So now instead of moving back that way, it's moving this way instead. That's because when a gantry shaft is powered, it doesn't move the gantry carriage, it starts spinning it, so we took that power to power this other gantry, so it's moving it that way. So we can move it around, place it where we want, and then we can start digging, so we can flick this lever, powering the other gantry as well. And if we flick this lever, there it goes, it starts digging. It's going quite fast. And yeah, it just eats away the entire world. That's pretty cool. There's just one little problem that can happen sometimes, and that's why we have this third little sequence gear shift. This one's gonna move everything by just one block, and we can see a little problem happening right away. That's why we have that little thing. So when we have water, it kind of sort of messes everything up. But the way we're going to deal with that is if we stop it, and let's just go there just to have a better look at everything. This entire layer is full of solid blocks, so it broke all of the water. It just destroyed it. So if we flick this lever, it's going to come back up. And if I press it, it's going to come back up by one block each time, and that way we can remove all of the water just one more time, and there we go, it got all cleared. So that's pretty cool. So now we can send it back down, dig a few more layers, and then we're gonna be able to bring it back to clear the rest of the water. So yeah, that's the solution that I came up with for that. It's pretty cool. Seriously, it's pretty cool to dig out chunks of the world like that. So now I'm gonna use that little machine a bit more and dig out the entire area, and then we're gonna be ready to make our game. Alright, that should be big enough. I think I'm gonna be able to fit a minigame or two inside that hole. So for today's minigame, I'm not going to torture my friends myself. Instead, I'm gonna make them torture each other. In other words, I'm gonna make a PvP arena. Now we could do a typical flat PvP arena with walls and obstacles and all of that, but this is Create, it's gonna have to move somehow. So instead of just boringly laying there, our arena is gonna tilt from one side to the other, like so, adding just a tiny bit of challenge to the typical PvP experience. Now for weapons, of course, we could just give them swords and let them stab each other in the face just like that. But again, this is Create. We have potato cannons. Of course, we are gonna give them cannons that shoot potatoes. So let's go to dot space to use this big crafter and make a few of those. And a very cool thing about potato cannons is that they don't just use potatoes as ammunition, they can use pretty much any vegetable. And they all have their own specific effects, so I've gathered a bunch of different veggies that we can use to have a variety of ammunition in our game. And we even have even more choice than that because, for example, potatoes, we can cook them into baked potatoes and they're gonna have a different effect to raw potatoes. So we're gonna need to make a few little assembly lines just to transform some of those veggies to have even more variety in our ammunition choice. And we're gonna be building those... Will you go away? I'm trying to speak. We're gonna be building those down here at the bottom of the hole because it's just gonna be something temporary. So I'm just gonna put that like in that corner over there. So first, let's just leave our veggies here. I brought them down with this minecart contraption. It's a very, very cool trick when you don't have shulker boxes yet. So let's start with our power source. We're gonna be using some water wheels, and I think 4 should be good enough. Then we're gonna put a speed controller like so because they are quite slow. Let's put it at 128. That should be good enough to get started. Then we're gonna extend the line a bit and put a gearbox at the end because we want to split this power. Because we're going to use 2 fans, so one here and one here. We're using 2 fans because we're going to have 2 different assembly lines, one with a soul campfire to haunt some stuff, and the other one with a regular campfire to cook some stuff. But now it's getting pretty late, so let's go sleep. So let's start with the cooker. We're going to need a belt here. And to power it, we're just gonna extend this line here and with some chains. Like an encased chain drive, we can put this here and it's going that way. Perfect. That means we're gonna put a barrel here and a brass funnel here, another barrel here and another brass funnel here. So all that's left now is to put a filter into that funnel, so let's go and grab some potatoes. Gonna need a filter as well. Put the potatoes in the filter, put it in deny, accept. And if we put this here, and we put the potato here, it's not going through until it gets cooked. That is perfect. There's still one slight little issue left. We get set on fire when we walk here, so let's just block this off and perfect. Now it is completely safe. So we can go ahead and make the hunter on the other side. It's gonna be the exact same principle, so I'm not gonna explain every step in details. So the only difference between both setups is that here we're using chests instead of barrels because we're gonna have more items to hunt, so yeah, we could use the extra storage. So let's take care of the filters now. We are going to hunt potatoes again. So put it in deny, there we go. And we're also going to be hunting some sweet berries to transform them into... Can you leave me alone? Thank you. We're gonna transform the sweet berries into glow berries. And forgot to say it, but hunting the potatoes is gonna turn them into... Ah, dang it. Gonna turn them into poisonous potatoes. So there we go. We're just gonna put one of each just to see it in action. There we go. Glow berries. And we're gonna get a poisonous potato here. Perfect. Perfect. So now all that's left to do is to process all of those veggies and then we can work on the distribution system. To throw our veggies into the arena, we're going to be using weighted ejectors. It's going to be the simplest solution. So we're going to select a bunch of targets all over the place and then place the ejectors on the side here. And just like that, we're going to have ammunition thrown all over this side of the arena. So now we need to distribute our vegetables to these ejector plates, and how we're gonna do that is pretty simple. We're gonna use more ejector plates. So each ejector plate will have a second one throwing veggies at it, so they're gonna go like bonk, bonk, and then get thrown in the arena. So now we need to send our vegetables to these 6 ejectors, which is going to be a lot easier because they're all next to one another. So that means we can run a bunch of belts into each one of them. Whoa, I didn't want to fall there. Like so. We're gonna stretch out these ones a tiny little bit for a reason that will make sense in the future. And then we're gonna link them all together with tunnels like so, and we're gonna put them in randomized to make sure that the vegetables get sent randomly all over the place. So these 5 belts here, I made them longer because that's where we're gonna put all of our veggie containers with some andesite funnels underneath. And we're gonna lock them using this inverted pulse repeater. So if we power it, what it's gonna do is it's gonna just send a short pulse where it's gonna be unpowered. So every time this gets powered, it's gonna unlock the funnels just long enough to send 1 item of each into the system and then into the arena. But why just talk about it when I could just power it and show it to you in action? So if I press this button, which by the way will be replaced by a clock, we can see the items get thrown around. Yes, and everything ends up in the arena. That is great. So now that this bit here is done, I'm gonna build another one exactly the same on this side to make sure that we get veggies all over the place. And it's all done, so let's look at it in action. I can click this lever here. I also completely automated the mechanism that makes the arena tilt. And it's a bit slow. Let's do a little time skip. There we go. So let's look at it all in action. Lots of vegetables are being thrown, but you might have already noticed a slight little issue already. Some of the vegetables actually make it through the floor somehow. I don't know how. I even tried to add a layer of slabs and it doesn't change anything. They still go through. So it's just some loss. It's not that big of a deal. I won't make a big fuss about it. I could still like make a little collecting area down there just to gather all the stuff. We'll see. We'll figure that out, but sadly that's gonna be it for today. All of that's gonna have to be changing between episodes, so in the next episode here we're gonna play this game. I'm gonna invite my friends over and we're gonna shoot potatoes in each other's faces and it's gonna be fantastic, so stay tuned for that and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.